Facebook group, Facebook group, Facebook group. Answer this question, pastors, seminarians, everyone. Why is it so hard for cults on the internet to accept that the Australian Aboriginal people have been in Australia for over 65,000 years? Cult collapse. Why Facebook group? Oh, why? Facebook group, why? We have this cult that won't accept reality that we can grow up out of the James Escher chronology. Why is that? Discuss that. Let me help you. So, start with the Great Plague of London, lasting from 1665 to 1666, was the last major epidemic of the bubonic plague to occur in England. So, now I'm going to drop you off at this. You have a cult on the internet who has a single verse in the Bible that I am explaining is the 6,000-year Earth deductive turn-off Bible because of verse. This one single turn-off, all of your religions, all of your opinions, questions.org, thanks for the Bible. Okay, Bible, the Bible. Here on this internet in the year 2020, you could do this with your grade 8 Zoom and go over to and use my dog to figure it out that you didn't grow up. Grade 8 should just kept the back record keeping your Bible a bit too long at Deuteronomy, Exodus 33:11. So Facebook group, having your Bible in print too long and the Lord spake unto Moses face to face, as a man speaketh unto his friend. And he turned again into the camp, but his servant Joshua the son of Nun, the young man, departed not out of the tabernacle. This single verse Facebook group has invalidated your religious systems, your opinion. Then Facebook group, as we can continue with cults on the internet, they can't accept reality that these verses say what they said and face to face meant what it said. After this, you personally, Facebook group, cult on the internet to help them turn off that, showed that you followed a legend. Kennewick, man. Your legend of theory of origin right here. So here we have Kennewick, man, the skeletal remains. So Facebook group, this is cult in the internet to help them turn off. Go help gotquestions.org, except that your churches can grow up and dispose of your 6,000-year teaching facilities. How old are the White Cliffs of Dover? And talk about, wow, you could grow up. And Jesus is the legend after that. So here, I just fully outlined that you had the Bible in for too long for you Facebook group, and we're done with cult at that. Done with the religion. We're done with your world. We're done with your internet. You took God out of the Bible. You're all cults. None of you even know how to read that thing. So up there in the Solomon cult bills, Kurt Cobain blew his head off because you had the book in print too long, and the NASA scientists still made it to a moon on a power kite. Surprisingly, somehow came back with a billion-year-old moon rocket and can't use that to throw out a cult. Why not? Is Kennewick, man, 9,200-year-old fossil, 1856. Oh, they made that up. No, they didn't. They found. We're going paleontological history. Yeah, we're going to make up something that we're time stamping with the magic of the volcano that might have dusted nearby, and not figure out where that old rock came from. Sure, the Matterhorn's a magic 6,000-year poof. You can't figure that out. You're dumb. Get off the internet. You have technology. No, you're an idiot. Invalidating CFR 191 with the Bible and print. Can't get you off, but that's where you're wow. So NASA, having made it to the moon on a powered kite designed from Kitty Hawk, I'll explain how God and Moses did speak face to face as friends. And in the year 1890, it did say face to face as friends again, and I repeated. More specifically, the catch point on that a unique catch is in the 60s era for the Jehovah Witnesses, where in 1890 they kept the redacted retentive of the naming convention in the numerical Bible, and they put it up like that, and they called it sacred scripture, and they called his name Jehovah. In a far enough reaching point where it demonstrated that the entire 1611 Bible compositional when the Mormons got it was already English apocryphatic, and in a 1611 still English apocryphatic. Let me unplug. So the 1611 Bible, let's discuss that. You've gone too far with the 1611 Bible imprint. At 6,000, no question about that. The earth is not 6,000 years in age. Sorry about that. That's a good way of saying that. No morons. No, it's a better way of even keeping it. But the 500,000 year cone of Mount Rainier, Toppenish, Washington, Lutheran cult. So, okay. So we're in the 14th century right now. So, okay. Help you out, you morons. But 6,000 year idiots still exist. Your scientists stop using that. It's a legend after that. Once it stopped matching anything, and they couldn't figure out that the books became a legend, is the entire Cold War era. And then your 20-year ladder authorship, 10/29, 2019. So put this with the 1611 sideways in at 1611, Revelation 16 verse 17. We're done after that. And this is who Yeshua the Messiah was. We're done after that also. Yeshua was the Jesus guy. Take him off the cross. The story in the New Testament is different. Itself than the New Testament story, and New American Standard, a word wobbled a sentence off. Jude contained reference to Enoch, and some Bibles referenced it and others didn't. The Ethiopic Tawido Bible contained the 81 books with Enoch. Cult turn off that and collapse that with YouTube. Merkabah. So you follow the Quell theory cult that can't accept reality. The theory that you're still here and you kept you kept your book in print too long is 6,000 Earth. No, we're sorry. There's 7.7 billion of us now. God doesn't want you. No one's ever seen God. No, everyone has seen God. You just need to see you see God. The Christian faith having no one has ever seen God. We're going to use that actual statement. I've heard it. Yeah, I'm going to preach this. No one's ever seen God. Yeah, rah, rah, rah. What are you, as you're welling up as a Balsino stupid creative tear? Is actually the Christian cult teaching facilities preaching a legend of a sermon on a mount, refusing to accept reality that he never preached a sermon. That was your fictional relationship to a false Messiah. That's why the Bible works with prophetic implementation, entrance, and exits. Uh, how else would you say that? At the letter Hey is a good place. The Wandering Jew, a good place. So 6,000 year earth false messiahs, 6,000 year earth false churches, Mormon church, false prophets. Joseph Smith, born, died. Here, take this out. With the 1611 Bible, he was a true prophet. However, Bible 1611, they had the messiahship incorrect at the church formation during the 1800s. With that being the case, what I just explained to you, Jesus is in the Quran 25 times by name. I'm accepting the 9/11 jihad for you and turning the Bible off because it happened. Is the dates of creation into all of the verses. It turned it all off at. So Jesus turned into the true prophet he was in the authorship and scribal control over those books. However, it being a Cold War era design of the 1976 that showed up later after 1890, turned it off at cult because you can't. Why not, Pastor Tim? Here's a Bible. Now, when did man invent writing? 3500 BC. Thanks. A false Messiah. And that's a turn off. They did not make up the age of Mount Rainier. It's as simple as that, cult. Moses died at 120 years of age. Jews forgot. Ariel Sharon, goodbye. Gotta turn you all off and take your Bible out of print because we have a cult on the internet who can't look at God face to face and write it on their back window of their car and say, hey, I will never teach this book because it stated God and Moses spoke face to face and the earth is not 6,000 years age. And the rest of the world's gonna just go into nowhereville with the where you're all at with the Pope who doesn't even know that there took Darwin, so 1859 not too hard for you. So that's where you're at. We're at the end of the road as we knew it. Cult on the internet, typing your ending for the Bible. It's a Cold War challenge you have. Is a nice way of saying it. GotQuestions.org. Cult on the internet. We're turning off the Bible because the earth is not 6,000 years age. I'm doing this from Toppenish, Washington, and doing this out of Endicott, Washington, where we have plenty of Paleo American history. I can drive my CRV up to the college and confirm with paleontologists people and geologic people, which you can use this information and trust is you. We can't trust because you can't even see God in the Bible. So now we have to collect all of these magic proofing volcanoes, probably about 13, around 18. And there's 18, so 18 hit for Washington State, Oregon, California, the Cascade Range. So thanks, student who have erased their I'm following along on that one. The magic poofing volcanoes of the 500,000 year cone. It's for real now. 12 million year base, yeah, it happened. And the 65,000 year presence of the Australian Aboriginal. They stood up. OTO, thanks. Hey, you have a cult nearby? The Catholics book be still out there. Take it out. Dumps. Now that we just erased all Earth history through what you couldn't see through. So, okay. Little false prophet. Open canon. Constructional arrangement of everything thereafter. Red letter. 1859 attribute. Followed through 1890 composition of your books. And then living to a lot of stuff. So now, cult on the internet. We're taking the Bible out of print to the 1890 era for the 1610 monarchical data I picked up on the way, because Jesus was a false Messiah. Here is the Dead Sea Scroll connective union into that. And it's because you kept yours in print too long like this. So pocket, interlinear, so underline some stuff. Life recovery. Let's flip. I wonder if this has God in it. No one's ever seen God. So how'd they fuck this one up? The one I had in 92 said Moses was the only one who'd ever seen God. So, Exodus. No one's ever seen God using our delusional method. We don't have to believe the Mount Rainier is 500,000 years age with a 12 million year base. We're just an immoral retard with the book still in print. We don't know how to read. The Lord said to Moses, now that you have brought these people out of Egypt, lead them to the land I solemnly promised Abraham, which is that 1610 David right over there. I read about it. Isaac and Jacob. I told them long ago that I would give this land to their descendants, so we got to take you. This is the acceptance of the 9/11 Yah, taking all your books out of print. And I will send an angel before you to drive you to the Canaanites, where you could grow up a little bit and learn about the magic of volcanoes, Amorites, Hittites. There's plenty of earth history from the paleontological standpoint, but you're reduced now. Believe anything's Hivites and Jebusites. There's this little land flowing with milk and honey. So taking God out of this story, and not being able to read it after that, because you can't turn it off at 6,000 unless you just don't read it at that and just turn it all off at that, and then you go, there's more than one of those, and you can read it at any way you want at that, and that's why you preach it. So we're back to the acceptance, the 9/11 Yahad, crescent moon rising, get that book out of print, Islam, it's because you're dumb. Let's straighten that shit out. And Jesus whispered the sweet nothings of the Quran into the ears of the Prophet Muhammad, and he's a dipshit dumb to have that book in print still. So the symbols of Islam, yeah, will take their book out of print too and put it into the American schools. Idiots. Jesus was a false Messiah. The Sufi book alive. You moron, idiots. This was to get you off the internet with, and now we're starting with this. Traditional translations of this quality include taking God out of the Bible and not knowing how to read it. Wrong, but not God. It doesn't make any sense to those guys. The Aquarian God, I love this era time snapping. So I picked up one in 1976. Nice, yes, that's the era spring. So yeah, legend after that, the philosophic and practical basis. What did Lord Kelvin look at? What in the fuck? So how many? Oh my god! I'm 6 million in all of these books. I now have to write 4004 BC and 1023 4004 BC. Then, I also picked it up in all of these other books where they just kind of smattered it and they couldn't figure it out as, and they kept with us. And it went Flat Earth Legend, Young Earth Written to get called off the internet after that. Oh, is it really that dumb? Yes, having the 6,000 year Earth still is that dumb. Gotquestions.org. Okay. The Aquarian gods from this era. So, fuck. Yeah, put it right there beside Clear Jesus. 1943. Even said reset. It even said it. You didn't do that. 1907. Reset 1964. Okay, so original 1907, then having followed all of the false legend of Jesus after the year 1906. Yay, they made it known about a guy with a bookstore. Can't convince a cult that the mountains are for real now. It's really disdainful, actually. It's pathetic, stupid that you have that book that 6,000 did not happen and you can't see your way around it. And that being the case, 6,000 year Earth not having happening, it is this. You knew it didn't happen. You kept working to figure out how to make that work for you. We're going to use it as a sermon. This Jesus guy, he's good. No, he wasn't. You guys got a $28 trillion bum, 27 book composition. Oops. And then I have everything else. So, yeah, Book of Jasher. So I had to put it all back together, and from the Kabbalah and early Christian writings, pioneered down the last chapter of the book of Acts, which is Acts chapter 29. That's Kabbalistical traditions. What are the apocryphal gospels? Well, they're in print, and the Apocrypha and the New Testament, the Epistle to Reginas. Just even at the named quoting of it might have the songs of Kabir. Yeah, somebody wrote a book. Yeah. Literature, Christian and literature, the New Testament, Apocrypha. Yeah, you used this somewhere. The Book of Jasher, that's still one of my favorites. The Hidden, the Idiot Years. The complete books of Enoch, 3 of them. The Lost Bible, Forgotten Scriptures Revealed, Undetected Book. The New Testament Apocrypha, so cult can't turn off and use this internet to do what I did. The Rig Vita, that's probably why not. The Acuta is too hard for them. The Lost Gospel, they have no brain cells that haven't been made out of the 136 million years of Wycliffe delivered cult turn off. It's the Lost Years of Jesus, we found it. The five the 5 gods that was left on my back telling me to get the fuck off the internet. 6,000, we're done now. Acts of Jesus was false Messiah. They wrote a book, New Gospel Parallels. So now we're into, they wrote a book about false composition of the Bible, Prayers of the Cosmos. So go pray to my dog with the die book for the Gospels. You follow the legend after that. You're an idiot. Kabbalah for Dummies. The Jewish history and culture, that's where you fucking idiot kids put it into 3760. So I put 4,000 and 4,000 BC, then I'm approximate. Yeah, we just have to get it out of breath that we put 3 together. Buddhism for Dummies, religion for dummies, and understanding of Islam, communicating with spirits, biblical 4000 BC. It's just a mystery at October 23, 4004 BC. Beside what happened and which story is about some blood about having this book and who died, philosophy. So I think they kept that book in and printed it. It happened exactly as it said. The Bible stories in the Bible are static and they actually happen. When it said God and Moses spoke face to face, his friends, some of those times, 200 to be exact, he had a job on 63 times. Go read about it. And this is so women's spirituality. If you didn't know that way into that, you didn't know that. Hypnosis, that's simple. Learn how to breed my dog. Jewish history and culture, that's why, because he wrote a book. Let's read it. So they get Auschwitz for this. We can do wherever we choose, he wrote it. It's God has no physical form, so you take him out of the book face to face as friends at 6,000 years of age. Cult on the internet can't turn off. God has no physical form. Now let's continue reading. Using your delusional approximate method and not accepting the 500,000 year Kona Mount Rainier for no good reason for standing there and just being stupid and having that book for no way too long. I need to get my life. GotQuestions.org. Using your delusional method, get you off the internet. The last of the expositors are caught up with. The Jews wrote a book here. We can do whatever we choose. They put it there, so we'll flip. We can make anything up. Jews will happily compromise, so they did. From that time until today, we have marked the passage of close to 6,000 years of age. Now, let me timestamp this. 1976, legend after that. 1859, Apocrypha Krajat. 1890, we showed you that. Culture off. Okay, so yeah, Bible out of print hats. The first week of creation is clearly not measured by solar days, so give it up after that. The Dominican letter B, and they continue to type, as we know them, because the Bible tells us the sun was not created until the fourth day, so who cares? Obviously, they took God out of the Bible, not knowing how to read it without the Dominican letter B, and Jimmy Sawyer did it again twice. It got worse. The first number of the days, it was red letter legend after that, and the expositors, good job for printing it. Were periods of time, yeah, so I'm 6 million into collecting the expositors package. Where'd they put that book at? Which could, it's all antique, have lasted millions of years. Recorded history starts with first human ancestors, such as the 65,000 year presence of the Australian now Aboriginal people who began writing 4000 BC when 3500 BC showed up. The ancestral origin of your hallucinations of your evolutionary theory is 4000 BC. You did not. You were taught how to write Adam and Eve. It was their only skill that they walked out of the Garden of Eden with, and it was for real. They were albino. It was just a lot different. Adam and Eve albino. 4000 BC on the mark. They were kicked out of the garden up there in Norway. And looking like this, kind of sheepishly dumb like you. We kept looking a little too long with that. So as you straighten up and you straighten up your lips even further, what do you mean you can't think your way out of this? We already did. Right here it is. Jews will happily compromise and refer to the secular date of Christian world as long as they don't have to use the letters that acknowledge Jesus as the Messiah or Lord. That's because he's a false Messiah. That's why you'll know that the years before Jesus are appended with the letters BCE for the year coming in the forgot the dominical letter B, and years after Jesus with the letter CE for the coming year. Now that you know that, I can tell you that according to biblical reckoning, forgetting the 1859's dominical letter B in this false authorship, Adam and Eve first saw the light of the day. They met each other. So with this false authorship after the year 1859, with the same continued repetitive legend and nothing, and got married on the same day. So that didn't happen either. On the year 3760 BC, so they got married, and on the same day got kicked out of the Garden of Eden. Probably because they could get away with just one person. 37. So that just doesn't quite fit with no, we have billions on the same day. Oh, we're gonna get created and get so we you guys got squished into the single on the same day legend called in print is where you got put. Tracking down cult on the internet. Where is this guy? Where is the 6,000 year Earth? How do we turn this off? And it's in print. Okay. So, what else would we use technology for? Turn the Bible off. What an idea. Cult. Who can't? NASA, can you say? That's a weird one. But here's what it actually is. You have never taken the King James Version of the Bible apart from its source being to put it into how is it being taught incorrectly. I did. And from Genesis 1 through Revelation chapter 22, there's not a word that matches Jesus, aside from his authorship, where he wrote. And then our legend in the archive volume of him handing the 50 copies of the 4 testaments that he wrote to Titus that were 24 by 36. What do I do with that? You're idiots. Gotta record myself to tell you that it's time to now just be done. You let the Bible stay in print too long, time to be done. 3760, we went over it like that. Forgot about that. Why using our delusional method of keeping that book in print like that for that long and not opening our eyes to the beauty of the 770 million years of age. What was the birthday of my dog and what of Maimonides? Teachings of Sufis. Howard Stern's birthday would fit with the Jewish and this Howard Stern. Yeah, so go pick up Howard Stern's birthday. Got a book for you to read. Howard Stern with the birthday of my dog. I read this one. I got a verse from. Get Howard Stern's comedy show to take God and say, hey, we're going to start every episode with this and write this on the back of our car. We know, hey, we have a cult on the internet that doesn't know how to read the Bible in any language. No one in the world knows how to. So they type this book, we'll take it at that. And then it just goes, no one in the world knows how to read it. If a man marries a woman, you do know how to read it, so I'll take it out of print. Deuteronomy. However, if a man does not marry, you do know how to read it anyway, it's okay. The Lord your God commands you this day to follow these decrees. So let me flip the page make a little contextual arrangements. You will be blessed in the city and be blessed in the country. So get off the internet. The matter was the largest chunk of rock in its hold now. Um, Deuteronomy. The Lord will drive you, but you don't do very well with your car keys. And the king set over, you'll believe anything, yeah, to ration unknown to you. So everywhere in the Bible said unknown, that was too hard for you. 6,000, they just, it was medieval to you and to your ancestors. So over there, were the Celtic tradition, Celtic golden cross things, rosy cross, Deuteronomy. And then Moses summoned all Israel and said to them, you saw everything Adonai did before your eyes in the land of Egypt, to Pharaoh, to all of his servants, to all the land, the great testings which you saw with your own eyes. So you went back and you checked his 4,000, fitting with the age of the Alps in the year 2021. You're a good Facebook user, right? When all the blessings and cursings I've set before you come on you. See, then when you look at it, I'm going to take it out of print on my Facebook wall because we have a cult on the internet somewhere. It doesn't know the age of the earth. It fits the wind the time. So Exodus, Deuteronomy. So Moses. Okay, I like this one. We could just type this. Then Moshe wrote down this Torah and gave it to his Kohen. And in the complete Jewish Bible, I underlined it, so you'll type it. So Moses wrote down this law and gave it to the Levitical priests. I wonder what it contained. The Lord said to Moses, 1, I will proclaim the name of the Lord. Oh, praise the greatness of our God. In 1890, it said Jehovah. Jehovah Witnesses Church collapse. He is the rock. His works are perfect. Thanks. Let's keep reading. They are corrupted, not as children. Their vine comes from the vine of Sodom. The Lord came from Sinai. Then Moses climbed Mount Nebo. Moses' 120-year obituary collapsed. Plains of Moab to the top of Pisgah, across from Jericho, indicating to anything in print that you shouldn't even have it. There the Lord showed him the whole land, telling him that you shouldn't even have the book. They just broke it. From Gilead to Dan, all the when you guys got stupid enough to keep it at 6,000. As far as the Mediterranean, away with the internet and the God and the whole region, pretty bored after that. From Welcome to the OTO. This is a Welcome to the OTO. There's nothing new but a false Messiah. I will give it to your descendants. Nothing in the Bible but a false Messiah. So when you put complete Jewish things, Howard Stern's birthday next to the birthday to my dog's complete Jewish Bibles, or is this is really what it was when I was done with compare this with now I'll take so I picked this one up way back when received 2011, so I'm going to put every date of creation into this one. It took that long, and now we're done. You don't have a book, you only have a legend of Jesus. Turn off at 1611 and be done with that. Mormon Church cult collapse, take the Bible away out. Lutherans are done from the era of I see is the old Rome fudgy, not grade 8 by there. So you guys couldn't come figure out the paleontological history or geology became for real during the 1900s. That's because you were always patting yourself on the back as you were being ballsy and all stupid. Yay, doctor. No, so that in the year 2021, the pastor, ballsy and all stupid. Shit running down your legs. You've got the capacity to think and see your way through your book of 1611. At all Mormon church, ballsy and all stupid idiots, false prophet. Dumb. Dumb to keep book and print so long that you have it. And you can't read it. And God's not did it. We've now fully covered the full disharmonic union caused by not seeing Jesus, taking God out of the Bible. Now we got no story. We only have this from you missed his we even his authorship cult. What I've done is I've been able to isolate the individual authorship of the individual lines of the Bible cult on the internet. It is static. The Bible. Duh. What are you going to do with it at the end? Well, come up behind it and clean it and say we're sorry, Nessa, we're having it. It's the dog cult on the internet. We're going to have to clean the 6,000 year earth out. So let's start at 4,000. When did man invent writing? He followed a legend after that. 3,500 BC. Legend from Sumer turned off cult with. Pope James Asher. Trinity College collapse. Pretty disappointingly stupid to keep that book and printed that. Dates of creation. Didn't happen. Science did. You got really dumb with that book and print stuff. Is a true statement. Facebook. Dates of creation from a story from the Jews. Dates of creation from a story in a book from the Middle Ages. Dates of creation dating the attempt to and then keep and not understand the retentive, incapacitative qualities of 27 books that showed up with the dated creation. That's a wet dream for nothing's right here. In dates of creation, Isaac Jesus. So placing Jesus where we need to get him and take him off the cross, which he told you about. The Jewish Study Bible, the Jewish Tanakh, the Talmud. I'm that guy. Every man's Talmud. Helping the cult guy get off the internet, writing the retirement for the Bible. The Talmud, the Living Talmud, the essential. Try your souls, rabbis. It's actually really hard, but it's not quite what you think. You have to use everything in print to do it. And Alaska, in order to explain a little Diomede, was an old Tunkarok. So the wisdom of the Jewish fathers, they wrote a lot. Sabbath, they bring God's rest. So you've heard of those who broke the Sabbath, they shall be changed into detested apes. First Maxwell. Not Maxwell, my dog. You've heard of those. We solved you with Darwin. And Jesus ignoring how to use it, secrets, dreams of Isis, the Holy Bible. Now, when you put it like that, now you have to pray to my dog. The Holy Bible is only right there. And it's pretty small. And the Holy Bible, there's Dewey Rams, another pretty small, but I like that one. And your Bible Hub Gateway. Go over there, and there's one. It's a flat earth legend if you can even begin to see to that. So if you can see yourself at keeping it at 6,000 and actually making sense out of the story, you can actually see it as a flat earth legend also. Okay. I can. with the frustration of not being able to get an internet call to understand that you can trust reality for the 500,000 year cone. Not right here. I can see it as a flat earth legend, be it from 1890 with the name Yahweh, just the name alone. No one's ever seen God. Okay, now there's 7.7 billion of you that don't know how to read a book. Flat earth legend, 1890. Imprint. Young Earth written to a stop point from 1859 when he printed it. Caught up with the medieval and antique, the entire deductive point from 1960 through to the year from 1859, 1966 through the entire era. Cold War era legend kids imprint. I tracked down the James Escher. And a wobble, fuck, that thing moved all over the place. In 1946, you had it at, they were expelled from the Garden of Eden. That's a good one. So 2005, 2010, Jimmy Swagger fucked up and did it again. Didn't say Dominical letter B broken at being expelled from the Garden of Eden in 1946. The cult turn off and help them collapse that because again, a man 9,200-year-old puzzle, you can think your way out of that. They did not make up the 500,000 year code. You're making up a sermon on a mount. Pastor, false messiah, everything. A 0 point in Earth history. With the 6,000 year Earth cult, we have his false messiah, Pope, false messiah, church construction, false messiah. Welcome to the OTO. With false messiahships is a little different than it meant that he had the scribe. He had scribe. So when Joshua had scribe of the obituary of Moses, no prophet like Moses has ever risen in Israel. Jehovah knew face to face in 1890, and when that actually happened, Jehovah was actually sitting there in his albino wearing a hijab and watching Joshua weep because and then Joshua scribed a little scribble. So Yeshua the Messiah ben Yosef will take from a secondary angle. He was also an albino. Stitch off at Genesis 1. You kept the book in print. Yeshua the Messiah, Matthew chapter 5, verse 1. Take out a print that was an albino. He authored that. Was not a sermon. So Facebook, that Matthew chapter 5, verse 1 was not a sermon. Not a sermon at all. Cult on internet, worst sermon that Jesus ever spoke. It was not a sermon. That composition during that era was like, okay, yes, yeah, Chernobyl, yes, Nancy Kerrigan's legs, they look nice, way to go. Compared with paleontological history, is for real now. Kennewick Man, 9,200-year-old fossil dust to pray to my dog. as we wait for this cult to, So Australia, with all your volcanoes, could you make a little bit better sense out of it? I can't get it past to accept reality that the 500,000 code could be for real now. It's an equal. Which meant that Jesus himself being that equal 1976 equal 1611, stand up. God and Moses spoke face to face. Jesus told you in author by authoring and handing those to Titus. Cult on the internet. Turn off its. Jesus handed the 50 copies that are in the archive I would discuss. So when we're discussing the relatable, you're an apocryphatic. There's 7.7 billion of you, and we even have a 6,000 year apocryphatic that continued after 2005 and 2010 into cult and pastoral systems. We can't get to try again on your book again for something local. Now that we have this technology, why not? Meaning that this internet has gone too far. You can't use it. We've let the internet go too far at 6,000. No. I was there in 99 when you broke it. In 96, we'll turn you off to back there. We figured it out. Then I grew up. You can too. Your magic prefers thereafter using Darwin. So putting you into the 500,000 year Earth cone geologic history is for real. Paleontological history, God and Moses did speak face to face as friends is for real. You're all in hell. Cult on the internet. Help them turn off Facebook. Come on, guys. Stop teaching legends of Jesus. Talk about when did man invent writing? When you actually start to discuss that historical incentive to actually try again for the world's first time ever and going over and getting this 6,000 year thing to stop with your own collection or your own years, you're not 6,000s. And some of you, yeah, we already knows it's not 6,000, so we didn't know we were following a false prophet and a church that had a false messiah. Church in Rome collapsed. I'm sorry, but the Mormon church needs a little boost before doing that. Is that yes? No. Every word. So in the year 2021, no one's ever seen God aside from the 4.54 billion year old Earth that the NASA says the moon rock is 4.543 billion, but they can't accept it now for some reason because during the 1800s nothing made sense with the Grand Canyon was only 20 million years old. So yeah, you can look at it any way you want. My way just happens to turn off the whole Bible. Stitch it off with my dog's offended that you have a cult that can't accept reality, that the Grand Canyon is an old chunk of rock. So we're sorry, NASA, for having a 6,000 year deductive Greek, Latin, English legend that was hard to turn off. Sorry. It was The Thompson chain reference. It could have tried. So every time you printed it, it was still medieval at 6,000 over there. Legend of Jesus after that in English. Like the English masturbatory dream. How would you actually take care of the Bible at the end? It's not 6,000 years age. Now we have 27 books to mix this out. How do we not figure that one out? you, when now you're looking at this Latin, Greek, English legend and that you can't figure out from the Jews. Oh fuck! Yeah, they got us. Sorry about that, kids. He's like, oh fuck, cult on there. What year was that? So the geodesic dome. How'd you get to the moon? Are atoms for real now? No, they made it up. So, no, they made it up. Cult made up. No one's ever seen God. That's their interpretation. Refuses to accept reality. Bible church with Bible imprinted. Jesus take it out of printed. Jesus 6,000 year earth kingdom of man 9,200-year-old fossil internet that can't even think your way out of the Bible. 75,000 year presence is something, and then the 65,000 year presence of the Australian Aboriginal culture in office because of OTO members get up and you got a cult everybody to go take out. Duh. What did you learn in school? You got nothing. Got questions.org. Real intense discussions. You got nothing. You got a cult on the internet. This brainless dumb 6,000s. Full assessment of your 2021 religion with use of Bible. Too hard for you. Too medieval. Oh, too medieval difficult. Kennewick Man, 9,200-year-old fossil. He made it to the moon on a power drive. And Kennewick Man, 9,200-year-old fossil, the shade of the 500,000-year cone. Yeah, in 1986, I already knew that the 12 million year base in the 1986 Britannica made sense. So, Lord Kelvin, yeah, that's an old chunk of rock that worked. So you can work with billions and making money, but you can't work at it in years. Use that Cold War era confusion of you being seen how stupid, bald, and elderly now. So the average 6,000-year pastor preaching legend of Jesus would, as you wobble up to your bald, senile, stupid, great ape head, as you suck on your ungoetic demonic cock, keeping that book in print so long, stupid, at 6,000, you moral retard, you dumb and god, at 6,000, you're the cult of 7.7 billion of you now, sucking on your own. I see you're all misformed. And the Holy Spirit's beating the living shit out of you. George Washington told us to keep excrement out of Torah. You would think Cult would want to actually grow up and learn about its own book and its own composition of how they don't know ordinance, which is a unique attribute and how I recognize it was entirely English apocryphatic. 1611. Because the Mormon Church had it. 1986. 500,000 year quantum Mount Rainier I read about.
9,200 year cone or cone of Mount Rainier, 9,200-year-old fossil, 1856. Thought of for one, well, I don't know in the early man was actually in the encyclopedia. Not quite as creative yet with the alpha and the Big Bang Theory on TV representing your record keeping of that era when you're now $28 trillion in debt, when 20,000 years ago you'd wear a lot more silk and things like that. And actually, yes, yeah, when the now you sit there and watch TV and get really bored as you're glued to your pop culture media entertainment systems and your pop culture performances. I have to take that the Bible out of print pop culture style on YouTube type thing and Facebook to turn off for 6,000. That's a call. That's a crazy. That's why can't we grow up? Oh, guys, it's whiny. We can grow it up. The Bible. We can whine our way out of 6,000. It's a lot of work. So here's the way to go to my website and go into the so Isaac Newton calculated Genesis 1:9 at 4,000 BC in the year 2020. What in the world can you keep in record in print that indicated that something around it might have changed that record kept? And the Bible turns into a medieval real then because you're reading it, you're not preaching it. Cult. Turns out the English is too hard for you, too small for you also. Cult. 4004 BC small. 4004 BC small. 4004 BC 1980s soap operas. 4004 BC 1976 Cold War era small. Electricity, not small. The Talmud, not that small. Then, especially with uh, all I can say is at the letter Hey over here, where they mistranslated and got that Bible, is here where you got this big one. They had a word. And so you wrote another book, and Ammonites probably should have committed suicide over that, but didn't. And sorry about that. So we have the Zohar, Meditations in the Life of Christ as a Legend after that. Jane's World rose from 1986 to 1987. Yeah, so I was sitting there in Meacham at summer camp in 86, or when I was 10. Yeah, so that was 86. Looking at those trains go by, going, yeah, I know that's an old chunk of rock right there. Why do they keep that 6,000 done that? We never talked about that. We just did chalk drawing, Holy Bible. We didn't talk about that. We talked about how we were going to sneak around, and it was all meeting that childhood meeting. We'll get them to meet later and keep them young, with that book in print at 6,000. Keep them young, keep them really immature and stupid. 6,000s. No, now you can't look at anything and no one knows anything further. What can you not see through? Which is you can't see through your own geologic history that is for real. And they can't see for through. Yeah, Jimmy Swagger. So he's a good singer. Thanks, but yeah, you fucked up a book and you took God out of it, and it's a flat Earth legend after that. From the time chart of the biblical history, over 4,000 years on charts, maps, lists, and chronologies, and put it into legend. Yeah, that's an antiques. So Martin Buber went, nah, you're stupid. And I kept the book in print too long, so I got a pile of them over here. And Muhammad, so Jesus whispered the sweet nothings of the Quran into the ears of the Prophet Muhammad. And the Book of Mormon is for real. And the mystical dimensions are radius now. The teachings that you radius now. The teaching, get that book out print. The Illuminated Prayer, 1611 out. Jewish history and culture, that's why. Bible stories in Stupidville. Idiot's Guide for Zen, Stupids Now. Get that book in print. The You're All Done book. The Everything You're Stupid Is Now. Stupid Gospels. The Idiot's Guide for History and Philosophy. The Idiot's Guide to History of the Bible. You're really fucking a moral retard is stupid with that book in print. Got questions.org incompetence 6,000 years. Earth Idiot's Guide to Alchemy. We have a 6,000 year Earth cult to help turn off the Earth's not 6,000 years age. The complete Idiot's Guide to Astrology. We have a 6,000 year Earth cult to take out the print your Bible. The Toltec wisdom will do it with taking out the fucking immoral retards, 6,000 year stupids with the big list. The Quran for dummies. The Idiot's Guide for quitting smoking and quitting working at a 6,000 year stupidville. The Book of Revelation, the Smart Guide to the Bible series. Stop working with it. You can't figure it out after that. The Quran, that we just have to be done with it. Living Paleo for dummies, because your false authorship of the book showed up in all of this bullshit. Being psychic, understanding Mormonism. That was kind of funny. The Lost Bible, the books Enoch. There were three of them. The hidden years in this Episcopalian church collapse. The books of Jasher, Joshua's handwriting, Moses' obituary. Me explaining to you the Christianity literature, turning it off for you because of what are the apocryphal gospels. Yeah, it's your fingers that don't belong in the Bible. The last chapter of Acts, Jesus was a false Messiah. Acts chapter 29 was for real. The pure pioneers of Israel, Christian writings, they wrote a book. The Kabbalion, that was a good one. The Songs of Kabir, the Epistle to the Reginos, so 6 million into this has taken me quite a few. I had to do this because I distributed that Russian apocryphatic in the Russia, and it's just the King James Version we have to take out of print. Too hard for you. Lost Bible, the Idiot's Guide to Hypnosis, more of these Idiot's Guide to Women's Spirituality. What a stupid thing to be idiots about. Celtic wisdom in Idiotville. The idiots with geocaching. I get called to turn off for paleontological history or geological history. Philosophy, can't figure it out. It is biblical media. That just made it pretty clear right there. It is good to community with spirits. Yeah, that's what it's best to pray to my dog Maxwell. And we're making this for him. Take the Bible out of print for his birthday. We're offended. We have a cult on the internet that can't accept reality for the earth now. Religion for dummies. Buddhism for dummies. Oh, my favorite, Kabbalah for dummies. You stupid more retards. Rabbi Shimon told you to get that book out of print. Four other gospels as part of Shimon's lamentation, you idiots. The die book, you stupid immoral retards. The New Testament Apocrypha, yeah, you got a book too hard for you. You're too dumb. There was too much of it. You're too fucking retarded, and you'll believe anything. The Rig Vita, so we had to end. They knew over that there's never been 6,000 years ago. Thanks, Moji, for looking like that. Q Thomas Reader, you're a retard typing great apes. The Lost Gospel typing great apes on Facebook. The Lost Years of Jesus can't fit turn off at typing great apes. The five gospels figure over the wiki source and plug that they have no brain cells. A new 6,000 euro internet cult, and everyone's now got questions.org. Little bitches on Facebook. Everyone's now officially Darwinian typing great apes. Yeah, turn off your theory. Turn off your Bible. Fuck. Come on, guys. The Gospel of Thomas, that's where that's Jesus was false. The spiritual conscience, yeah. So you got Alcoholics Anonymous. Good job. Learn how to pray. It says I don't know, but it's the case for the pagans. I'll take that. The new Eusebius writing in St. Paul. So he really fucked shit up having changed his name in the book of Galatians. Tricking you after that. Documents of the Christian church. Tricking you after that. Scriptures of oral Torah. The entire church was formed on not having a sermon. We'll trick him after that. And Mary Magdalene. So, when Jesus himself, the false Messiah, Yeshua Messiah ben Yosef, handed the 50 in the Ark of Volume to Titus, those 50 copies that he hand wrote the four Gospels, the four disciples witnessed him write those. They don't write those. They transcribe those. He wrote those on site. And when I saw the multitudes, I look out the front door. I had my 400 right there drinking their white French press coffee we picked up. Hey, that's a nice temple. Yeah, we're gonna go get all the temple documents because they don't know how to pray. Right on. We're gonna work with this guy. And so saw the Greek kids sitting in the flower pots and closed the front door and walked past his four fucking disciples. Just walked past. They had a headshot on. Walked out the back door and four disciples just sat there leisurely finishing up their white French press coffee that they're drinking in the morning when this happened. And we better find that fucktard albino who picked us up out of our boats and wanted us to help build pilfer on, take down the second temple with Titus and help him out. So us being his henchmen, we're looking, where am I? So we go out the back door and we find I up on the mount without a name, and it turned out to be not being a sermon, just his daily one-liners, and it's pretty boring after that. So yeah, Noah's Ark fact or fable, it's a fable. And Josephus got on the hyoid, the Jerome Biblical Commentary. It's a big, heavy book. The Book of the History of the Bible is another one. The Living Bible, yay. Paranoia, paranoia, yay. Did God have a wife? Not even a question if you're that dumb. Um, the Adam and the Kabbalistic tree, that's part of it, and why. The Legend of Baal Shem, best breed of my dog. The sacred and profane history of the world. I wonder if they broke it in here. Oh, let's see. Connected. I'll have to write on this one. Yeah, just turn off the Bible on my Facebook wall. How to do that. I have had an interruption of the 7th verse, but they say God's not into their book and they won't get off the internet. There's some names that are too hard and shit that's written for them. That the earth was on the time rained of water, okay. Shall you find what you inquire after those with maxims and directions of their studies? God and Moses spoke face to face as friends in 1890. His name was Jehovah. Manotha wrote his history by order of Ptolemy and Philadelphus See, that worked in Alcoholics Anonymous if you use it like that with your 12 step uh, self help recovery Bible. So you put all of this for stupids and everything. Self help for like self help recovery. Uh, then these very just really slow ritual orders. Just you would spend 7 years just like, oh, I don't even, not quite as a mouse, and just observe and listen. Oh, we're gonna draw when Rabbi Shimon speaks. Wow, we're in the presence of somebody like Crawley. Like that. And God and Moses spoke face to face. That connectivity with the Jesus being who he was, said it what it was, and what he wasn't. Called on the internet. Turn off its. Manetha wrote the history, so when the Hebrew antiquities were published in the world, the Egyptians grew jealous of the honor of their nation and were Moors even higher than Moses could carry those of the Israelites. So you lost it all after that. Yeah. So that verse, we have to take the Bible out of print for Deuteronomy 34:10 because that's the Bible that was the one that showed to you that you followed a false Messiah. That's one that demonstrated to the church in Rome they didn't know what the fuck they were talking about, and it also demonstrated that the Mormon Church collapses that because of the Trinity College at 136 million year white close to Dover to look at. It's never been 6,000. I learned in school in 1986 there's never been 6,000, Pastor Tim. They did not make up. However, if you're going to keep it at that, apparently my parents sending me to Christian school was a bad decision. Can't get you to accept reality for what I learned there. I even brought that roadside geology into that classroom. 1992. From Genesis 1:9, when teacher said, come back with the verse from my mission strip distributing a Russian apocryphatic. I later learned I have to get out of print because we got a cult on the internet. Cult on the internet, where you go? Take God out of the Bible. There's only one verse in the Bible that made it work. It's the one with God in it. And then it went into what I just explained. English. English made up language. Legend of Jesus after that cult. Legend of Jesus after that. Y'all know. Legend of Jesus after that. Legend of Jesus. Legend of Jesus. Legend of Jesus. Who was he? He was actually right there, except he had scribal authorship. Not a sermon. He scribed until he handed the scroll that Matthew later took on and continued writing his one-liners. No such thing as 6,000 year Earth inspiration. That's called turn off for the 500,000 year cone of Mount Rainier. Pastor Tim. False Messiah. Pastor Tim. Cult on the internet. Church in Rome. So, Trinity College collapse.
In the year 2021, we have a 6,000-year false messiah, medieval false messiah, stuck up in the Cold War era in the Bible. Pastors, you're in a medieval Cold War era geodesic dome makes sense out of mouth now. Is it for real also? When did you learn that? How'd you get to the moon? Can you trust your data now? Not very well if you're voting. You gotta get the book out of print without you can't do it yourselves. You can't see your way around who you grew up. Facebook, that's what we have to do for this cult on the internet. Take 100% of all Bibles out of print and just do it. No questions, just do it. Religion, no questions. Take your English authoritative interpretation of wherever you received yours at, and understand that you received something after the year 1906 that had been retained at this 1960s medieval continuation of Cold War into Chernobyl happened later on. Take them all out of print, because the earth is not success in your sage Facebook group. That's thinking your way around and understanding Jesus is a false messiah Facebook group. That's what that is. That's Trinity College collapse, 136 million years. Yeah, that's for real. 770 for the Alps. That's for real. 9,200-year-old fossil. That's for real. Facebook group. Feldhofer 1, 1856, 40,000-year fossil. That's for real. Cult can't accept reality. That's also for real. When the year's 2021, help them turn off with what I just gave you right there. Take your Bible out of print while you're at it. Do it that way.